I know you don't know me, and I don't know you. And if you thought you knew me, but you really didn't know me, because I don't know you. No, I don't know you, and you don't know me. I don't know you, and you don't know me. I don't know you, but you don't know me. But I came to rearrange the things that's in your brain because your brain is not yours. I said I don't know you, and you don't know me, but I'm coming to you live one time, two times. Wherever you go, you'll be able to see NUSK, NUSKQU. That's what I do. Then I got the funky beat from the maestro, and you know it's right on time. Everybody wanna be somebody. Everybody wanna be somebody new, special, and all that too. As we rise to the top,
I see the promised land.
they took a long time to get back where I am. I'm basically in a kind of comfortable chair. I got my boy right there doing what he do best. You know what I'm saying? Put it out there with the help of many, 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 many people all over the globe. You see, so um, to take all the weight is not a good thing. Uh, this is what I say. I say this. I say let love reign. I said let love reign right there. I said let love reign all over the world. So some people came as a translator. They did what they did, and it's over. Now, who me? I'm Doc York, Dr. York, BK Brooklyn all day, from the bush, not Bushwick, but the bush straight, the straight bush, Bush Street, Red Hook, the hook that's gonna hook Leviathan out of the waters, out of the lives, out of the matter, scatter, scatter. So many things that we are here. Like right now is what they call a holy day. A hole in the day, a tribute to those oppressed you. And you suck it in and you don't utilize that time to do something different. So you're sucked in a whirlwind. So you don't want to know this, and I shouldn't be saying this to you because it may hurt your feelings. Because you're stuck in a body and you're calculating everything by your senses or the sensor of the senses, the sensors of the senses. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna align this here with this. So basically I can, there you go. Too much. You know, too much is not enough. Sometimes enough is enough. Too much is not enough. Right. We're gonna line this up like this. There you go. How about that? That's a little better. So basically what's going down is that you don't want to be told what to do. You were already programmed 100% to destroy yourself. So in that form and fashion, you ride and glide. So you say, well, you don't want to know. So this is not for you. So you might as well just change the program. You might well say, forget about it. Forget about it. You know? So I don't continue to ramble on. I'm going to start to read what I got for you. Okay? And it's L's Holy Injil. The word Injil is the revealing. And when you reveal something, you have a revelation. In the revelation, you have a revolution. The revolution. In the revolution, you have the solution. In the revelation, you have the action of what that is what revealed. That's what was hidden, that which you did not know. So you erred off the path of what we call right and just or righteous. So this particular book was translated by our Savior, who taught that you are also a Savior, the first of the Saviors. Okay? Now, I don't claim to be your Savior, but I do who I am is what I am. Well, this book has been here for a minute. It says since 1970. Let's see if I can get this where I can read it to you in a way where, yeah, how about that? Okay, yeah, how about that? Hey, a little bit better. Okay, how about that? That's pretty decent. Okay. Since 1970 AD, and AD represent after the death of Christ. Okay? After, yeah, I see you and I see you too. I see you and I see you too. Right. We got my boy up there with his cowboy hat, and he got the heart. Since 1970 AD, I have been dispelling all the lies that the evil one has duped you into believing. I've spent the past 27 years teaching nothing but the facts about such vast subjects as Christianity, comma, the true story of the prophets, comma, what are angels, comma, your descendancy, comma, what where the Caucasian came from, comma, what you call heaven, comma. I even told you about the places that you call hell. I dismantled the false teachings of the Sunni Muslims, the Hebrew Israelites, the Christians, the 5% nation, the Nation of Islam, and the Israelite Church with the man's 360 questions. The amount of questions that I answered in, I gave you word for word translation of L's Holy Quran, L's Holy Torah, Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Numbers, Psalms, etc., and released the scriptures called the Holy Tablets, including the ancient tablets, something that none of your so-called leaders have done. And now I'm giving you the facts from L's Holy Injil. There will be no subject left untouched. So if you are a sincere seeker of right knowledge and right wisdom that will lead to right understanding, then proceed to read further on. But if you want to accept the lies and the mistranslation that have been fed to you for far too long, then continue to saturate yourself with the delicacies of the harlot and her wicked ways. My children, please wake up to the facts. We no longer have 30 years to waste. Time is running out. We are in the very last 4 years, and this is your last chance. The evil one's rule ends 6/6/1996, June 6, 1996 AD, and is completed 6/6/1996, which is June 6, 1996 AD. When the three sixes aligned it, I cannot accept the facts. I can only present them to you. To you. The beast has got to go, and with a uniform effort by all, we can beat him. We have to for the children's sake. Now the seven seals is now open, and the time has come for all truths to be revealed. The book of Revelation is the most misinterpreted book of the Bible. Many so-called scholars of all denominations have come professing to know the real meaning in the prophetical words of this text, and many have attempted to explain interpretation by way of the English translation of it. But you can't get the meaning of a book in one language by interpreting it into another language. So this only makes what is not evident even further from what is true. Egos, these so-called scholars continue in their attempt to reveal and make clear the truth that they will never succeed in accomplishing. Their only accomplishment is in leading the sincere, right knowledge seeker off the path of the true light. A word of warning to anyone who feels that he may contemplate enough to even attempt to interpret the words of Theos, who is Anu, the Most High, also called Allah by the Muhammadans, by the Hebrews, God by the Christians, and Jesus called him Eli in Matthew 27:46. And Abba, beware of the truth found within the book of Revelations, chapter 22, 18 to the 19th verse. Theos, who is Anu, the Most High, also called Allah by the Mohammedans, Hebrews, God by the Christians, and Jesus called him Eli in the book of Matthew 27, chapter 46 verse. And Abba has placed a seal, therefore, to protect this book from those glory seekers who wish to misguide the unlearned. Anu chose who he wills to receive divine right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding, and only he can decide when this wisdom will be disclosed. L's Holy Quran 87-269, Yate al Hikmat man yasha wal man yata al Hikmata faqad Katia Karan Kataran wal ma yazakaru illa ulu al abad. And he, Allah, gives al hikmah, which means the wisdom and the know-how, to whom he pleases. And whoever is given al hikmah, the wisdom, certainly was given a lot of good, wealth, success, and knowledge. And the fools will not remember, none except the first ones who passed through the doors of the mystic orders of Zaduk. And he gives the wisdom and know-how to whom he pleases. And whoever is given the wisdom certainly was given a lot of good wealth, success, and knowledge. And the fools will not remember none except those who have brains. No man is worthy to loosen the seal, but one chosen from Theos, who is Anu. Elion, Elion El. This man is none other than myself, Dr. Malachi Z. York. The only requirements for being a competent and reliable translator is that you have to have the necessary linguistic skills along with the scientific and religious overview and a gift from the Most High. Being the one chosen to do it, I am the one. I spent over 25 years saturating myself in religion, be it Islamism, Mohammedanism, Christianism, Judaism, Mosesism, Egyptology, Sumerian doctrine, etc. I had to live it in order to be able to understand what it is that I had to teach you. However, much more than this is necessary in order to give the interpreted meaning of Theos, who is Anu, also called Allah by the Mohammedans, or Yahweh by the Hebrew scriptures. This ability is not something learnt, borrowed, or bought. It is an inspired gift from El Elo, or Eli, the All, who bestows knowledge on whomever. I am able to do this because I have been gifted with the ability to use the two-edged sword that is spoken of in Revelations, 2nd chapter, the 12th verse. The two-edged sword represents the ability to understand two languages because I'm able to translate the precise meaning of the original language of this scripture from the Galilean, Ashuric, Syriac, Arabic, and Aramaic Hebrew into English, and then from Greek into English. When you read this translation of the book of Revelations, you are reading it from the standpoint of its original form. Now we speak about the Dead Sea Scrolls of the Qumran caves, which was discovered in 1947 AD. They are the oldest surviving records of the New Testament. Some of them were written in the Aramaic language, while others in the Hebrew language. These scrolls are associated with the Essenes. The Essenes who founded a strict religious community off the northwest shore of the Dead Sea of Jordan. Jesus, Yeshua, Emmanuel, Isa, Jesus was a member of the Essenes, and it is a fact that he and his disciples spoke Galilean. Galilean is a dialect of Aramaic, which is Hebrew. Jesus' Essene name is Tammuz, and his Egyptian name was Hor, which means high or far away. The Greek letters changed it into Horus, then it became Latinized as Horus. His Aramaic Hebrew name was Yahshua, and his Ashuric Syriac Arabic name was Isa. This is a must before one can start to break down the meanings of the book of Revelations. By the definition of the word revelations in the Greek, apocrypha itself, which means a revealing, you must understand that the intentions of the book of Revelation is to uncover or to make known. There is nothing in this book that should be hidden. But if the so-called religious scholars only go to the English translation, they will not be able to give you a correct interpretation. John was in the Lord's day. This day and time is a time in which the visions that John was seeing in 96 AD. is coming to pass. John was seeing a revision of what was called the book of Malachi, which is Malachi 4th chapter, the 6th verse, where it states, and I quote, "And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse." The he being referred to here as Elijah. This Elijah is the Elijah Muhammad, 1897 to 1973, mentioned in Malachi 4th chapter, the 5th verse. And he said that he was guided by what is called a God or a Allah in the personage, or Master Farad Muhammad. But he did not succeed in this part of his mission because most of the families of his followers did not accept their teachings. So the earth had to be smited. And that is Malachi 4th chapter, the 6th verse. And this is why we, the Ansarullah community, which is now known as the Holy Tabernacle Ministries, come along. If Elijah had succeeded in his mission and been accepted, there wouldn't have been a need for us to come. Therefore, Malachi, the son of righteousness, would come. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Farad Muhammad. The truth is that one man in particular is largely responsible for the confusion which exists today in all the different English translations of the scriptures. That man was born Martin Luther. Martin Luther was born 1483 to 1546 AD. Martin Luther was said to be the herald of the religious Reformation in Europe. He saw these days and times. Luther's intentions was to rebel against three of the most outstanding excesses of the Roman Catholic Church, which at that time was the ruling religious faction of the entire so-called civilized world. The first was the church expanded and foreign peoples converted. The Roman Catholic Church started to incorporate even more pagan practices into Christianity. Thus, Martin Luther found plenty of support all over Europe. People began to protest against the church. These same factions were named Protestant simply because they made a protest against the ills of the organization and the doctrine of the Roman Catholic Church. As a result, the word anti-disestablishment came from Martin Luther to defy and going up against the combined established churches. He was considered what a modern-day terrorist would be. I felt the need to bring this out because it is the branch of Christianity that Martin Luther formed, the Lutheran Church, from which originated all the poor translations of the Bible. And from there, many denominations started to form. The following is a list of some of the sects which emerged from the Protestant Reformation. Episcopalian, also known as the Anglican or Anglo-Catholics. The word presbytery stems from the Greek word elder. The elders of the church have supreme authority in all spiritual matters. Unitarian. Unitarian are also called Universalists. They reject the doctrines of the Christian church. A common view shared by Unitarians today is that one should worship God only because the Messiah Jesus is not God. but a man born of Joseph and Mary, who grew into the fullness of his divine powers. Seventh day Adventists. They observe Sunday as the Sabbath and believe that they must recover old truth which has been lost through pagan traditions. Then you have the Quakers. The Quakers prefer to call themselves the Society of Friends. You have the Greek Orthodox or the Eastern Church. Same basic origin as the Roman Catholic Church. They separated from the Roman Catholic Church very early in the history of the church on account of arguments and quarrels concerning the office of the Pope. Still, it is the major denomination in Greece, Armenia, and the European Baptist countries. None of these religions can be found in the scriptures as what the Messiah Jesus followed. They are all man-made religions. Even the news bearers, the prophets, had to abide by the laws of Theos. Those who they So who are they to consider themselves above the law? When the Europeans started to colonize America, they brought their religion with them. Their very nature formed the kind of societies which sprung up in America. Most of those who came, including the so-called aristocrats who flocked here. The class of people who came to America began to find it necessary to have Bibles in the form of English, the language that they spoke, so that all would be able to understand. Thus, it was necessary to come with a revised version, James Bible. I must express that my first translation was coming from the original language of Ashuric Syriac, which is Arabic, and you rejected it. Now I'm giving you a right translation straight from the Greek. It is not based on the culture of the West. I'm not interested in what the European King James has to say because he was not coming from the original language. If your preacher really care about your souls and not that collection plate that's being passed around the church, he would take time out to research the original language so that he could tell you what the Bible is really saying and stop leading his congregation astray with misinformation. The only language in which the scriptures were originally revealed in were Aramaic Hebrew and Ashuric, Syriac, Arabic. They are one and the same languages, just different dialects or tongues coming from cuneiform. Now, cuneiform is the language of the elders, spoken as well as a written language. So you have cuneiform script, Aramaic script, Ashuric script, the Hebrew script, and the Arabic script. From the cuneiform, which is the first language of this cycle to be brought here, from which stemmed the language Adamic, which later became known as Ashuric, Syriac, Arabic. These languages are called Semitic languages because they stem from Shem. Shem, the son of Uthnaphishtim, or Noah and Nama, and that's in the book of Genesis, 5th chapter, 32nd verse. And Ashuric from Ashur. Ashur was the son of Shem and Fatim, and that's in Genesis 10th chapter, the 22nd verse. The Arabic language came from Arab, the son of Joktan and Huda. Joshua 15th chapter, the 2nd verse, Aramic, the language of the Aramanians, came from Aram, the son of Shem, which is Genesis 10th chapter, the 22nd verse. The language of the scriptures was originally revealed in this day, say that it was in Greek. So I will give you that in Greek. The scriptures were not originally revealed in English, Latin, or Greek for that matter. Let me clarify also that my first translation of the book of Revelation and tafsirs, explanation, or commentaries are not from a Muslim perspective, and they are not from a Hebrew perspective. I consider myself not falling under any sect. They are simply the facts, nothing more, nothing less. No translator, reverend, preacher, or group in the US of A, Great Britain, Canada, or any other part of the world who does not know the original language of the old books can explain or translate the true meaning of them. In order for them to translate correctly, the original language that the books was revealed in, so that they can understand the meanings, interpret the meaning when they can't even accept the languages of the scriptures and where they originally revealed. In Aramic, Hebrew, Asheric, Arabic, which are all one and the same. To give you a better understanding of what I mean, let us trace these languages back to the beginning. In the beginning with Adam, the word Adam meaning of the ground, earthlings, who were the son of Atum and Lilith, also known as Zakar, meaning one who remembers, and Cadmon, meaning upfront, Easterners, and that could be found in Genesis 15th chapter and the 19th verse. The language he spoke was Ugaritic. It was a combination of cuneiform and Hindi, creation of Cadmon, Adam, also called Zakar, Kalkael, also known as Rudwin or Uriel, the Yahweh of the Elohim in the enclosed garden of delight, taught him everything he would need to know to have complete caliphship, meaning successorship, over the planet Earth, mentioned in Genesis 1:26. Adam was given the knowledge of Ha'u'ah, that is, that was, and these who is, which is that, this, that, and these. And it is recorded in the Quran, 2nd chapter, 31st verse, 80th surah, 31st to the 33rd ayat. This represents the knowledge of the three realms. Lahut, which is the realm of the Most High, Malakut, which is the realm of the angelic beings, Anunnaki, Elohim, and Nasut, which is the realm of the human beings. Cadmon, or Adam, also called Zakar, conversed with the Anunnaki in the divine eloquent language that rightfully should have been known as Adamic. Adamic is the first language after the reconstruction of the planet Earth 2,250,000 years ago. This language is a dialect of cuneiform, which was spoken by the people of Pat and his wife Anat, the rulers of the Pygmy tribe. The tribe was known as Patites. Pat was the father of Nicobar, Anat was the mother of Nicobar, and they were rulers of the Pygmy tribe. The divine language, technically named Adamic, was passed down by Cadmon, who was Zakar or Adam, through his progeny. The sons of Cadmon, also called Zakar or Adam, in the praise of Theos, Anu, uncovered the secrets of the universe to his sons through this language, but at this time still had no name. Eventually, humans strayed from the teachings of their father Cadman and submitted to the evils of the disagreeable beings. The sins of human beings became so great that the whole population of the planet Earth was overpowered by evil. Thus, the Elohim, also called Anunnaki, found it necessary to destroy the beings from the face of the planet Earth by a great flood mentioned in Genesis 6 chapter 11th through the 13th. So you had Nicobar and Zaka, and the elders spoke cuneiform. Nicobar spoke cuneiform. Zaka spoke Ugaritic. Ugaritic was a cuneiform and Hindi. The people or the Adamites, which was the children of Nicobar and Zaka, or Adam and Eve, they spoke Aramic and Syriac. These are what you call Shemitic languages. After the son of Shem. Shem was the son of Noah, and that's Genesis 10 chapter, the first verse. So you have from Syriac, you have Syriac, Arabic, Amharic, Coptic, Ge'ez, Farsi, and then you have Greek. From Aramic, you have Aramic, Chaldean, Hebrew, Phoenician, and Nubic. And from Hindu, you have Hindu, Akkadian, Ugaritic, Urdu, Latin, and English. So English is a derivative of Hindu. Nubic is a derivative of Aramic. Greek is a derivative of Syriac. Syriac is from a Shemitic language up into the Adamites over to Nicobar, which is from cuneiform. So all the language, the land was earth, different dialects, variations of tribal words, communication. After El destroyed the earth, or Eli, and it was replenished, another major incident occurred in your story. A very mighty warrior by the name of Nimrod, who was the son of Cush and Semiramis, tried to build a launching pad to reach the heavens. Nimrod was a worshiper of Anu. Nimrod, unlike Abraham, who was unaware of the name Anu, due to the fact that people during that time were unworthy to refer to the name Anu. Abraham worshipped the unseen, which was called El Gabu. Nimrod wanted Abraham to worship Anu and himself. Abraham, not having an understanding of the ancestral worship, Nimrod, he refused. Nimrod wanted Abraham to worship Anu. The Most High known as Elyon El, also known as Theos, today known as Allah or Yahweh. Nimrod's most renowned architectural influence was the construction of the Tower of Babel. Nimrod also had a city named in honor of Anu called Cana, meaning fortress of Anu. And that could be found in Genesis 10th chapter and the 10th verse. As time went on, Nimrod overstepped his bounds and taught people to worship him instead of Anu. The Most High, to reinforce his absolute rule over the Canaanite houses under one nation and one rule, Nimrod had an edifice built in his honor to prove beyond a doubt that none was higher or mightier than he, as if he dealt Theos, Eli, confounded the tongues, which confused the languages, and that's in Genesis chapter 6 through the 9th verse. They spoke the same language, but different dialects. Because of the popularity of the Aramaic Hebrew language, it further developed into even more dialects, which is Nabatean, spoken Nabatea. Petra was its capital. Palmyrini, spoken in Palmyra, called Tamor, or located in the Syrian desert. Mandean, spoken by the Nazarenes or the Nazarites. Manichaean, spoken by the Manichaeans. Samaritan, spoken by the people of Samaria. Galilean, spoken by the people of the Messiah in Jesus' time in Palestine. Translation was originally in Galilean or Syriac, Arabic, and Aramaic Hebrew. Talmudian, spoken by the people of Babylon. It is also the language of the Babylonian and the Jerusalem Talmuds, spoken today in some Christian communities in Palestine. Semitic, Egyptian, an example of this form would be Elephantine papyri. Phoenician, spoken by the cursed seed of Canaan, who reside in Phoenicia. Moabitic, spoken by the people of Moab or Moabites, spoken by in Carthage. Assyrian, spoken by the people of Assyria. I'm saying all of this to make you see that all these languages came from the same source. They are all the same. It is as if you were speaking English and you met up with someone from Australia, Great Britain, and the southern part of the United States. All of you would be speaking English, would make a different sound, meaning you would have sayings that may be totally confusing to a foreigner who speaks the same language. As in the simple case of the phrase, "look out." An American-speaking person, you know exactly what it means by this simple statement, right? But suppose you were walking down the street from where you were. You see a foreigner looking out of the window with a safe dropping down from above the floor. You may yell, "look out," which to you means get back in the window. Of course, the results would be an accident because the foreigner does not understand what you mean, will literally look out the window. By this example, I'm trying to show how important it is to know the scriptures and the language that were revealed in. Without that knowledge, you will never know the true meaning. What is a seal? In the American Heritage Dictionary, the word seal, S-E-A-L, means a die or a signet having a raised or incisive emblem used as to stamp an impression or receptive substance as a wax or a lead. Impression so made, the design or emblem itself belonging exclusive to a monarch seal, a small disc or a wafer, a wax lead, a paper bearing such a imprint or affixed to a document to prove authenticity or to secure it. Something such as a commercial hallmark that authenticates, confirms, attests. A substance, especially an adhesive agent such as wax or putty, used to close or secure something or to prevent seepage of moisture or air. a device that joins two systems or elements in such a way as to prevent package leakage. An airtight closure, a closure as on a package used to prove that the contents have not been tampered with, a small decorative paper sticker. The Greek word for seal is suffrages, which means a seal that is placed in a book, a signet ring, that by which anything is confirmed, proved, authenticated, and could be found 15 times in the New Testament. According to the Arabic English Lexicon by Edward William Lane, the Arabic word for seal is khatam, from the root word khatama. The word khatama means he sealed, stamped, imprinted, for impress, namely upon a thing or writing or a book, and is mentioned 3 times in the Holy Quran, referred to the Holy Quran 27 or 87:7, 646 or 55:46, 45:23 or 65:28. Elohim Anunnaki told both Daniel and John, son of Zebedee, to seal up the book until someone would come who was worthy to open it. Why? Because contained in this book were events and things that were never heard before. Therefore, they didn't possess the ability to explain the meaning behind the symbolism expressed therein in the book of Daniel, 8th chapter, 26. The book with the 7 seals is the mother of all scriptures, known as the Tablets of Destiny, and the Summa al-Safir, located in Paradise or Nibiru. It contains all the scriptures in one. The opening of the 7th seal is mentioned right here in the book of Revelation, chapter 8, verse 1. It says, Hakti Aneogo Hebdumus Suffragus Sige Oranos Hosi He Neori. And when the Lamb opened the 7th stamp, there was silence in the Orient skies for about a half an hour. And when he opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of a half an hour. The Lamb spoken in Revelations 8:1 is referring to myself, Malachi, as have been already stated. Only I am able to unloose the seal. Before the year 1970 AD, there wasn't anyone who could do this as explicitly and vividly as I have. It wasn't until my coming in the year 1970 that all things were made crystal clear and all the secrets of the universe were revealed and made available. What would mark the opening of the 7th seal? That was the question. The answer, you may be asking yourself, why the year 1970 AD? What is so special about that year? The book of Revelation, chapter 8, verse 8, speaks of the opening of the 7th seal as taking place during the time period of a half an hour. The space of a half an hour is a representative of 30 minutes or 30 years. It relates to the time period from 1970 to the year 2000. The year 1996 is the start of the end of his rule, and in the year 2000 makes the completion of the end of the devil's rule. If we are successful in raising the 144 spoken in the book of Revelations, chapter 14, verse 1. And look, and behold, a lamb stood on Mount New Jerusalem, and with him there was 144,000, having his father's name written in between their eyes or their foreheads, which is actually the third eye. The third eye is the opening of the third eye, when you're in tune with your extrasensory perception when you proceed to understand those things that's above and beyond your physical uh, body. And I, John, son of Zebedee, looked, and behold, a lamb standing on Mount Zion of the elevated places, a new city of peace. And with him were 144,000, having his father's name written upon their foreheads. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Sion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in the foreheads. If raised properly, they will be the holy ones, the righteous, the unadulterated, pure children. If you take the year 16, that year in which your ancestors brought you here to America, a land that was not theirs, which is spoken about in Genesis 15, chapter 13, verse, and you subtract it from the year 2000, you will get 400 years correct. Now, the 30s from the 2000, and you come up with 1970. You got 2000 AD, the end of the 400 years of terms of enslavement. You have 1600, the slave trade began, and you have 400 years fulfillment of prophecy. Daniel was told to shut the book until the end of time. Surely the time of end is near. How do you know this? If you turn to Matthew chapter 24, it said that Jesus gave his disciple many signs would come to pass. Here's a list of those signs were. You have wars and rumors of wars, and that's Matthew 24:6. You have nations against nations, that's Luke 21:10. Kingdom against kingdom, Luke 21:10. You have famines, pestilence, and earthquakes, that's Matthew 24:7. You have false prophets and false Christ, that's Matthew 24:24. You have love for one another wax cold. That's Matthew 24:12. Will be as in the days of Noah. That's Genesis 6:13. Eos, Eli, or Anu, bestowed upon me the Pharakon, which is the ability to differentiate between the allegory and symbolic and the decisive, literal portions of the scriptures. And he has given me the Bayanim, which is the key to unlock the mysteries of the scriptures. This has enabled myself, Dr. Malachi Zior, to explain and interpret the true meaning of the scriptures of Theos, which is Anu. The so-called Islamic scholars never addressed the Bible until after I did. No one can give a more precise translation of the last and seal of the scriptures, El Quran. I haven't just translated the Quran, I have given a transliteration of the Quran as well as the story of Genesis, the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the book of Malachi, a word for word, literal transliteration so that an English speaking person as yourself will be able to understand the Quran and the story of Genesis amongst as much as an Arabic, Hebrew speaking person, in fact, better. Now we're going to speak about the receiver. The history of the prophet John, the son of Zebedee and Solomon. John, the son of Zebedee, Yochanan bar Zebedee, a fisherman from Bethsaida, which was a fishing town located in the north shore of the Sea of Galilee. The name John, Yohanan, comes from the Asheric, Syriac, Arabic root word Hannah, meaning to long for, and Yohanan in the Arabic Hebrew, because he came from the area of Galilee, he spoke Palestinian, Galilean, and Aramaic Hebrew, form of Asheric, Syriac, Arabic. In the time of John, son of Zebedee, Boys grew up learning the family trade, then eventually joined their fathers in the business. Thus, John, son of Zebedee, being no different, became a fisherman, working side by side with his father and elder brother James. And this is spoken of in Matthew's 4th chapter, the 21st verse. John, son of Zebedee, mother of Salome, who was given in marriage to Zebedee by her father Joseph. This Joseph was the husband of Mary, the mother of Joseph. Prior to marrying Mary, Joseph was married to a woman named Hausa, who bore him 7 children in all, 4 sons and 3 daughters. So Hausa was Joseph's first wife. Joseph was the son of Jacob and Hadith. Therefore, since Simone was Joseph's stepsister, John, son of Zebedee, was Joseph's nephew. Both John, son of Zebedee, and his brother James were amongst the first who Jesus united to follow him. Prior to this, both of them was followers of John the Baptist, who was their cousin. So this all was a family affair. We're talking about a bloodline of those who were chosen by the host of the planet, teach the inhabitants of the earth how to be supreme, to teach the planet of the earth to get along. They teach all the human beings or the beastly men how to elevate and be correct in their living on the planet. John, son of Zebedee, acquired this title and chief role in the ministry of Jesus because of his devoted and spiritual nature. Jesus affectionately called John and James sons of Zebedee, the sons of thunder, because of the forceful and enigmatic way they propagated the doctrine of Jesus Christ. Because John, son of Zebedee, was the constant companion of Jesus, he was able to bear witness to the many memorable events in his ministry. John, son of Zebedee, and no others but him recorded the unadulterated facts of what took place during Jesus' mission. Zebedee felt a deep responsibility to be the one to set the record straight concerning the true story of Jesus. He wanted people to know the facts. This is why John's book is more widely accepted than any other gospels. The truth within his book speaks for itself. Another element was prompted John, son of Zebedee, to write the true version was the fact that the 3 men had already taken it upon themselves to write their version about the ministry of Jesus. These 3 tales or stories was called the Gospels according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. We now call them Hadith. The word Hadith meaning a story or a tale. It means the words of men according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. John wrote the vision of Revelation which came to him in the island of Patmos, which is in Greece, 96 AD, while he was in prison for teaching about Jesus in that part of the world. He was a fisherman by trade in the town of Bethsaida on the north shore of the Sea of Galilee. Thus he spoke the Palestinian and the Galilean and the Aramic form of Hebrew and the Syriac form of Arabic. John lived until the age of 97 and died a natural death in the year 99 AD. Now, what are the Synoptic Gospels? The tales, the writings according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke are all called Synoptic Gospels. The word synoptic means that of a common view or being seen together. The earliest written tales was the tale of Matthew's, written 8 years after the Christian calculation of the crucifixion of supposedly the Messiah Jesus. His record could have been looked upon as accurate, considering he was of the original 12 disciples, but his tale strongly resembles Mark's and Luke's. Besides, he was one of those who fled the garden after the rest, and supposedly the Messiah Jesus in the garden. Therefore, in actuality, gave no account. Thus, he wrote from what he had been told or what he himself thought had happened. Number one, approximately 95 of the 695% of the 600 verses of the 661 verses in Mark are either reproduced or substantially represented in Matthew. And of the 661 verses in Mark, 350 are either reproduced or substantially represented in Luke. Only 31 of the 661 verses found in Mark are not represented in Matthew or Luke. Only 31. Everything else is copied. 30 verses found in Mark, Matthew, and Luke are the same. The tales of the Luke and Mark follow the pattern of Matthew, which was influenced by a man called Paul, who guided the other tales as well. Besides, neither of these men ever met or walked with Jesus the Messiah. So Luke never walked with Jesus the Messiah. Mark never walked with Jesus the Messiah. Paul never walked with Jesus the Messiah. Just as those people today have not walked with Malachi Z. York. They know about Malachi Z. York as what they heard or what the government has said, what the media has said, or what their parents have said. Many were disgruntled. Many do not know. The same thing is happening in these books, is happening in this life today. This is why it's imperative for me to read to you, because I was there. I was there. So being that I was there and not there and there in spirit and there in the foundation and there in the teachings, I was there. Regardless of what you say, I was there, but didn't mean anything to the individual who now claimed to be something special because you cheated, got relaxed, you thought you won because you thought this life was going to be fun. Now, of course, we know that the book of John, the son of Zebedee, and Solomon, or Shalom, was written by John, son of Zebedee himself, and that his writings was valid, just like me. My books are valid. I've written my own books, but I'm going to read the book from the collaboration of many that was stamped and put a seal of the name that of the bloodline, okay, not the name of a individual. You can find parallel meanings and identical wording among the three tales of Mark, Matthew, and Luke. Mark 9:6, Mark 2:10, Luke 5:24, and Matthew 9:6, which could vaguely justify their being called synoptic gospels. However, the truth of the matter is that none of those tales told the exact same story, thus causing them to contradict each other tremendously. Just like right now, people are contradicting themselves about what to do, how to do, when to do, when we were already taught what to do, how to do, when the right time to do, and who are we doing it for? So we have Dihine, Adu, Hate, Hios, Athropos, Echos, Osia, Epi, Haratia, Ta, Tota, Lego, Paatikos, Airo, So, Kani, Hapago, So, Eos. For that you may know that the Son of Human Being has the power on earth to forgive sins. Then he says to the sick of the palsy, arise, take your bed up, and go to your house. Dehine, Idu, Hate, Haweos, Athrapos, Echos, Ekoshia, Epa, Gay, Athi, Ame, Atia, Legos, Paraatikos, Ilego, So, Aro, Kae, Airo, So, Batos, Kai, Ago, Isu, Akos. But ye may know that the Son of Man has the power on earth to forgive sins. He saith to the sick of palsy, which is leprosy, I say unto thee, arise, take up thy bed and go thy way. It is a known fact among the so-called Bible scholars that the book of John, the son of Zebedee, surpasses the three synoptic gospels as far as spreading the true story is concerned about Jesus, the Messiah's life. The book of the prophet John, son of Zebedee, is the only book of the New Testament which I would recommend that you read for accuracy of events. In my translation, I've been very diligent to showing you that the hymn spoken of in the book of John, chapter 9, is actually speaking of Judas, the one who betrayed the Messiah Jesus. The only other book after the book of Revelation is that authored by the son of John, the son of Zebedee, is the book of John, the letters of John, as they are correctly termed. Do not make up a book, but they consist of letters written by him. In the Quran, the book of Revelation is called Al-Injil, from the root word Najala. The word Najala meaning to bring to light, to publish, to make known. It is mentioned several times throughout. The book of Revelation is the beginning and the end of Al-Injil. The book of Revelation is the beginning and the end of Al-Injil. These 22 books are known as the Evangel. The word Injil came from the Greek name of the book of Revelation, Apocalypse. As a scripture, the book of Revelation or Injil is composed of the three methods or forms of receiving a scripture. these three forms of Nazala. The word Nazala means sent down. This is what came directly from the Most High to John, son of Zebedee. Then you have the method of Waya. Waya, which means inspired. These are verses which speak directly to him. For instance, Revelations 10:11, it talks directly to John about his prophecy after the book of Revelation. And in Revelations 21:5, he is directly told to write down what was revealed in the vision of the book of Revelation. Then you have Waratha. Waratha means inherited. It is like unto a tongue, which means given. These are the portions of the book of Revelation from previous scriptures, for instance, Revelation 4 and 6, when it speaks of the four living creatures, which can be found in the book of Ezekiel in chapter 1. The book of Ezekiel in chapter 6, 1 through the 6th verse, the book of Daniel in chapter 7, 3rd through the 7th verse. And Revelation chapter 13, when it speaks of the beast with the 7 heads and the 10 horns, which can be found in the book of Daniel in chapter 7 to 10 verse, and Revelation 9, when it speaks of the characteristics of the nuclear war, which can be found in the book of Joel, chapter 2, 30 and through the 31st verse. But what we have, Zechariah was the son of Berechiah and Ma'achah. You have Ezekiel, the son of Buzi and Rizana. You have Daniel, the son of Jara and Gibbar, and Joel, the son of Pethuel and Jechanah. Now you have the imprisonment of John, the son of Zebedee. Because of the energetic and moving way he propagated the teachings of Jesus, John, the son of Zebedee, was summoned to Rome to appear before the emperor Domitian. To be tried. Domitian was the son of Vespasian and the brother of Titus. He succeeded Titus as emperor in 81 AD. Domitian encouraged the cult of the emperor worship because the followers of Jesus refused to bow down to any man or false god, reserving their worship for Anunnaki. They were severely persecuted by Domitian, who was determined to establish his claim to divinity in the midst of the people. Domitian was a very ambitious man, yet did not reserve persecution or defiance of emperor worship to the lowest class of people. He also enforced this edict of imperial worship from Nero, people of high rank. John, son of Zebedee. Defense was said to be so convincing, was amazed at his wisdom and the eloquence of his speech. Yet he was banished to the Isles of Pamptos to serve a life sentence. Pamptos is a small, rocky, sparsely populated island in the Aegean Sea, 15 miles south of West Ephesus. Today, this island is called Pantino. During the time of John, son of Zebedee, and Solomon, it was used as a penal colony by the Romans. It was here, while on the Isles of Patmos, that John, son of Zebedee, received the book of Revelation for his master Jesus. The location of the revealing of the revelation cannot be disputed. John himself tells us from what location the vision unfolds before him. E.O. and Nasi. Ho. Chaye. Ho, Monet, Ad Elphos, San Kononos, Philippus, Bal Il-A, Hope Ane, E Jesus, Christos, Nasus, Kalios, Patmos, Logos, Theos, Martyria, E Jesus. I am John. I, John, am a brother of you all, and a partner in the hard times of the kingdoms, and the patience by way of the Messiah Jesus, while I was on the islands which is called Patmos, for the sake of Theos, words, and the testimony of the Messiah Jesus. John, son of Zebedee, was told to go and write what had been revealed to him, as the book of Revelations in the year 96 AD. So obviously, it couldn't have been any of those other books they tried to get you to believe the Messiah Jesus is speaking about. Now, the vision in the year 96 AD, on a secluded islet of Patmos in the Algerian Sea, John, son of Zebedee, received the revelation of Jesus. The book of Revelation was given to Jesus, and he himself sent his angelos, the Elohim Anunnaki, to signify it. The word signify simply means to serve as a sign or to make known. In other words, the angelos or the Elohim or the Anunnaki was to make known all things in the book that would shortly come to pass in Revelations 1:1. Now, who exactly signified or made known this revelation to John, son of Zebedee? The Elohim, the host of the planet, referred to in the first verse and throughout the book of Revelation is the Angelos or the Anunnaki, Michael, Melchizedek or Melchizedek, who is also known as Murdoch, meaning son of righteousness, son of Enki and Damkina, who is also known by many names. Michael, who dares to be like El, Malik, which means an angel, Al-Qadr, which means the green one, Menor, one who is enlightened or luminous, Melchizedek or Malachi Sadiq, angel of justice, El Ruhu, which means the soul, Malachi Sadiq means son of righteous, Amar Utu, ruler of the first son, Murdoch, leader of deities or supreme deity. The Angelos, Anunnaki, Michael, is the highest and noblest of all the Anunnakis, and while on the planet Earth, he is a supreme being. The highest example of the Theos, Anu. The Anunnaki, Michael, is the ruler of Malakut and Nibiru, which is the planet of the crossing, the great mothership, the realm of the Elohim Anunnaki. He is called the Ancient of Days, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, spoken of in Revelations 22:13. I am the first and the last letter, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Ami, Alpha, Omega, Achai, Chilo, Photos, Eschatos. The Anarchy Michael was there when man was procreated, and you will find him mentioned throughout the book of Revelations. because he has 720 degrees of knowledge, which is 300 degrees of the physical knowledge and 360 degrees of the spiritual knowledge. He is a four-folded being. He has the power to transform from an etheric being of light to a physical being, meaning he is able to incarnate in the form of a man with skin, as he did when he appeared to John, son of Zebedee. And you say, well, how do you know this? Because when John met the angelos, who was a Anunnaki, a Elohim, he wanted to fall before his feet and worship him. Now, if John didn't see him as a man, why does it say he fell down and prostrate to him at his feet? Now, you have to think about it. Now, what did the Elohim Anunnaki say in Revelations 22:8? He is telling John right here, I'm just another person like you. Then he tells him to get up because he was a servant just like him. Question. So why did Jesus call him his Elohim Anunnaki? Because Jesus was after the order or the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. And that's in Hebrews 6 chapter 20th verse. Therefore, they are alike. John, son of Zebedee, described him as looking similar to the Son of Man. And we all know that the Son of Man is referred mostly to is Jesus. Now, when this Elohim Anunnaki comes in the form of a man, many people are going to say that he is Jesus. But he is not. He is sent in the form of Jesus to guide man. This Anunnaki Elohim is very important in these days and times. He will be the one to have power to make decisions over judgments. He will be the one to raise and prepare the 144,000 holy ones. He will be the one with the book of life, with the names of the righteous written in it. He is the one within the powers to fight back the reptilian Zuin, called Tarnish, or Satan, the devil, and his sons and all his children, the jinns. He and his Elohim Anunnaki fought Satan in the beginning of the world, and he will do it again, spoken of in Revelation 12:7. And there was Polemos. Polemos is the word battle, in the Arias, skies. Maliko, he who dares to be like El, and his angelos, his messengers, angelic beings, seraphim. Palion, Kata, against Dracon, the dragon. Palios, he fought his angelos, his messengers, beings who were called cherubim. And there was a battle in the Arion skies, Michael and his agreeable arch messengers, Anarchy, Elohim, Seraphim, fought against Zuin, the evil ones, and the disagreeable arch messengers, Anarchy, Elohim, cherubim. It was the Anarchy, Melchizedek, who walked through the vision of the revelation with John, son of Zebedee. Don't be fooled. It couldn't have been Jesus, because the person tells John, son of Zebedee, that he's but a fellow servant of the news bearer. And that's in Revelation 1:1. So how could this be the Messiah Jesus? Wasn't the Messiah Jesus a news bearer? And that's what he himself said. He said he was but one sent from the Anunnaki Elohim. I know that Zuin, also called Thomas or Satan the devil, is trying to trick you. This is why I have come to make things clear, so that you can't be deceived. Let me show you how the son of Zuin, also called Satan, the evil one, has tried to keep you, your family, from the truth. As we've already discussed, the Anunnaki, Michael, was sent by the Messiah Jesus to testify to John, son of Zebedee, who would testify unto the people. In chapters 22, verse 20 of the book of Revelation, you'll find the confirmation of chapter 1, verse 1. The Apocalypse, which is Revelations, of Iesus, which is the name Jesus, Christos, which means Christ, Has whose Theos, Elohim, Deomi, which means give unto him, the prophet John, son of Zebedee, Dik Nu'u, which means to teach, Delus, which means servants, hosts, D and the Ahi, Ap Astelos, which means set forth, Shamaino, the record, Angelos, by his messenger, Delus, Eo, and Nasi, which means prophet. The revelation of the Messiah Jesus, which Theos gave to him in order for him to teach Tammuz, servants, the followers of the Messiah Jesus, who is Tammuz, about that which must happen very quickly, and to record and sent it by the way of the prophet, the news bearers, John's hands through Malachi, Melchizedek, also called Murdoch, his Anunnaki for his servants, the news bearer, Johanna or John. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show his servants things which must surely come to pass. And he sent and signified by his angel unto his servant John. In your King James Version of this verse, notice the word Amen. He which testified things surely, surely I come quickly, even so come Lord Jesus. In Hebrew and Greek, Amen should be spelled Amen, but it's not. It is spelled Amen. So where did the spelling Amen or Amon come from? The truth of the matter is Amon, Amen, is the name of an Egyptian deity. Just like most Christian customs and traditions of today, like Christmas and Easter, which was created in honor of the two Egyptian deities, Tammuz, and Isis, which is Ishtar. The Egyptian and the Samaritan way of life has eased into the prayers of Christians, as in Revelation 22, the 20th verse. Amen, Amon, is a deity that was worshipped by the Egyptians before and during the time of the pharaoh Akhenaten. Akhenaten's wife was named Nefertiti, 1336 to 1343 BCE. They had a son-in-law named Tuk-Akhenaten, and it was Tuk-Akhenaten or Tuk-Akhenaten, or what they call King Tut, from 1346 to 1330 BCE. Tuk-Akhenaten was taught Tawhid. Now, the word Tawhid is the aloneness of the source of the Anunnaki or the Elohim. And he was taught this by his father-in-law, Ankheten. He was married to his and Nefertiti's daughter named Akhenaten. Ankheten was taught by his mother, Queen Tiye, who was an offspring of the original inhabitants of the Mesopotamian, who was Sudanese. Their family was made up of the Hotep family. The Hotep family was Imhotep, who were taught Tawhid by Abraham, who was later called Abraham in Genesis 17:5. Abraham and his forefather Adam or Zaka dwelled in Mesopotamia. The peaceful way of life was the religion of these people. This is why Queen Tiye taught her son Akhenaten the worship of one creator. However, the people during the time of Akhenaten's parents were idol worshippers. They worshiped animals and the deity Amon, the Egyptian deity Amon. Antuk realized his people were in darkness, and he tried to abolish this idol worship by being an example for his people. He tried to show his people the correct way of life, and he sometimes expressed it in the form of symbols. Originally, his name was Amun of Amon, and he established the worship of Anunnaki and the worship of the Elohim. And Aton was a combination of two words, Ankh, which means the symbol of eternal life after death, and Aton, which means the source of life. Amon was represented as a human with a ram's head, with a face of a ram, which was the symbol of the sun, or a ram wearing a triple crown or goose. Amon was known as the deity of life and reproduction, which is called fertility. He was also known as the king of deities. He was also known as the patron deities of the pharaohs, and identified with the sun deity Re or Ra, as in Amen Ra or Amen Re. The Greeks identified their deity as Zeus with Amen Re, and Zeus later came to be Jesus. A quote from the book entitled Final Reformation, 1986 AD, by Chris Costa. The use of Amen instead of Amen. By ending with prayers with Amen instead of Amen, one could very well ask, have we been misled to invoke the name of the Egyptian sun deity at the end of our prayers? Now, how did that get there? It is obviously these words were added to original Aramaic Hebrew when it was translated into other languages. The book already ended right after Amen. Then the evil one came along and added these exact words. He which is Martoriush, he who testified Tuta, these things, Legos, saith, Nahi, surely I, Ikhon Aya, Kam Taku, Am Ani, Amin, Nahi even, Nahi so, El Hum Ahi Kam Karius, Lord, Ai Jesus, Jesus, the grace of Kyrios, Lord, Jesus, Jesus, Christos, pas all am ani. Amen. The witness says this, surely I am coming soon. Amen. Come on, Messiah Jesus. Grace be to our Rabbi Messiah. Jesus be with you all. I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to get to you that. We're almost getting to where I want to go to. I just want to give you a little introduction of what was going on, and we will get with this at a later time. Okay? We're going to get to the meat of everything in a minute. I'm going to separate this from the next one, and I'll get back with you.